back to our stress management group. My name's Katie. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody about confidentiality and make sure that we still all understand what that is. So what that means is that anything that's said in this room will stay in this room. The only limitation to that is if there is anybody in the group who specifically says, I want to kill myself or harm someone else, that is a situation where I would have to report.
I have a question.
Yes, Megan?
So what if I heard about someone else, so the other day I was going down the street, and there was this man that walked up to me, and he was like, I just want to kill myself. And I told him, I'm like,
Hey, Megan?
in a group, I have to
Megan, I'm going to stop you right
people.
there.
Yeah.
I appreciate your concern, and if you would like to, I would love to discuss this with you after group. But right now, I want to talk about confidentiality inside of this group and make sure that everyone that's here understands it. Would you be okay if maybe you and I talked about this a little bit later?
I just, when you brought up confidentiality, it just kind of reminded me the other day of reporting, and I'm like, I don't know if I have to report this. So I guess, going over confidentiality would be helpful because I didn't know if I was held to the same things that you were held to. So.
Okay. So I want to finish up on confidentiality, and then I want to discuss what just happened, okay? So like I was saying, confidentiality, harm to yourself or others, or taking advantage of any vulnerable adults, which could be children, elderly individuals, or individuals in the disabled population, okay? But going back to what just happened with Megan, would anybody like to give feedback on that interaction?
I will.
Okay, Kirsty.
I think that would just be better said in an individual setting instead of a group setting. Just because it's something that happened unique to you. So I feel like that'd be better in an individual.
Just startled me with some random guy walking up to me and telling me he wanted to kill himself. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing. Would anybody else like to share feedback with Megan?
Isn't that no offense at all, but I just kind of jumped because I was just kind of listening to you, and then boom, and I know you were probably excited to get an answer, but it just made me kind of jump for a second. So.
That's how I responded the other day too. So I apologize for that, but that's
okay. Thanks. No problem.
Megan, how did it feel to receive feedback from other group members?
I guess since it's been something I've been fostering on for the past couple of days, I really wanted to get it out, and I really apologize to you guys that I disrupted, the beginning of group today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And I didn't ask you if you were open for feedback, so thank you for being willing to hear feedback from other group members. I apologize that I didn't do that.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, and thank you, everybody else, for giving feedback as well. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say about the interaction or exchange that we just had? No? Okay. Do I have permission to move on and kind of get going into our session tonight? Okay. So we went over confidentiality and what that entails and what the limitations are. I do want to do a check-in round, see where everybody's at. So I would like to go around, just say if you're here, not here, and give a little bit of a reason behind that. So whoever wants to start can go ahead, and then we'll just go in a circle from there. Kirsty?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. I'm here as well.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Thank you all for sharing. I'm really glad that everybody seems to be tuned in to group tonight. We're going to be talking about stress management. And so the plan for tonight is we are going to do a little bit of an activity. I have a worksheet pertaining to stress that we'll get to in a little bit. So how this is going to go is I'm going to explain the worksheet to you. And if there's any questions, please feel free to ask them, and we will go from there, okay? All right, so I'm going to pass this around to everybody. This is a worksheet on reframing, because sometimes when we get stressed out, we find ourselves having unproductive thoughts, and my hope is that this worksheet will give you an opportunity to realize maybe some unproductive thoughts that you're having, and how can we turn them into productive thoughts. So on the left side, the box that says situations, it says List a situation that I dislike or complain about that prevents me from performing at my best. So take a moment to think about what a situation you've experienced this week might be and write that on the left side. And when you're finished, you can just put your pen down so that way, when everyone's finished, please take your time then. Okay, I see that everybody has their pen down. So how this is gonna work is we're gonna go in around and I'm gonna ask you to share what you wrote down. Whoever starts will just go in a circle from there, but if you don't feel like you wanna share, you do have the right to pass and we can come back to you at a later time if that is something that you're interested in. So again, if you don't wanna share, just say pass and that is perfectly fine, okay? So who would like to start? Okay.
I can't stand it when I feel overwhelmed and pulled in all directions at work.
Okay, so it sounds like you're getting stressed out when you feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions and you don't really know which way you're supposed to go first. Am I
Yeah, like I
hearing you
can't
right?
function, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can tell that that really stresses you out when you're at work and that happens.
It does.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, mine was about like assignments and I can't focus when there's just so many assignments due and all the deadlines and then I end up waiting to the last minute.
So it sounds like we're kind of in the middle of the semester when a lot of things are due and having so much to do, you kind of lose your concentration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think for me, I wrote down just like my busy schedule and how I get annoyed at work when I'm one person doing 50 billion things and it's like I don't get the recognition that I deserve.
So you feel like you're being asked a lot at work and not necessarily getting recognized for the things that you're doing or paid for it. Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about how that makes you feel or how that stresses you out.
I think it just stresses me out when like we have new people come into work and they start creating rules that don't get reciprocated to me. So then it's like when I tell them, hey, we don't really do that, they're like, oh yeah, but they told us it's fine. So it's just kind of like frustrating me because the level of communication is not there, and yet I've been there longer and know how things work. So.
And so it sounds like not being able to communicate well with other group or the people that you work with is very frustrating to you.
Especially when I'm only there a couple days a week. It's wonderful.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Mine was I don't have time to eat healthy.
Okay. I have also experienced times where it stresses me out when I feel like I can't eat healthy too, so I can totally relate to that. So now that we've kind of shared what our unproductive situation is, on the right box it says, how can I reframe this situation as in a positive way? So I'd like you to take a minute and use what the negative sentence that you just wrote and frame it into a positive. So take a few minutes. If you have any questions, let me know. And then again, once you're done, please put your pens down and we'll go and discuss them when you're done. done? Did anybody need a little bit more time at all? Okay. So again, we're gonna go in a round. You do have the right to pass if you don't feel like sharing, okay? And whoever would like to start may go ahead whenever you're ready. And we'll just go in a circle from there. Okay, Erica.
I just said, even though there's a lot of assignments due, I'm like always able to complete them and get them done on time.
So it sounds like you are feeling stressed out about all these assignments, but somehow you find a way to get them done, and in the end, you know you're going to be okay. Is that a kind of sense of relief for you, even though you're kind of in a chaotic spot right now? But is
Yeah,
it?
I would definitely say that's a sensibility.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
I said through my work experience that I have, I'm able to train those individuals and ensure that things are getting done.
So it sounds like even though you don't feel like you get the recognition that you do deserve, you are confident in yourself and your abilities at work, and you're able, you know what's going on. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Mine was I can eat 5 healthy things per week. That will take just as much time as going through a drive-through would or less.
That was a very positive spin. I like that you're able to think of alternative ways that would take just as much time as eating unhealthy meals. Thank you for sharing.
I'm glad I have a job where I'm truly needed. It keeps me busy and dynamic.
So even though you're stressed out and you feel like you're being pulled a million different ways, at the end of the day, you do have a job, and that's important to you. And it sounds like you're really grateful that you do have that experience, and it sounds like even though there are a billion things going on, you're learning a lot of new things.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel? Do you feel less stressed, even though at the end of the day, like, yeah, I am going through all this stuff, but I know that I'm learning?
Yeah, I think just, because I've had jobs before where I didn't feel that useful or just maybe had more downtime and the days would go slowly. So if I'm going to be upset about being pulled in all directions, I suppose I can be happy that it feels like a work day takes an hour instead of, 60 hours to pass.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. All right. Thank you everybody for sharing. Now I'm going to take a few minutes to process this activity and give you all a moment to share what you thought. Did you think it was helpful? Do you think that this is something that you could use in the future when you're aware of having an unproductive thought? Do you think that you are now able to change that into a productive thought?
I think I would be able to say that this activity helped kind of just stop you in the moment to think, okay, this thought is negative, but if you can bring it to the positive light and bring up positive traits, it makes it kind of feel like a better situation.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else like to share at all? Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I didn't think about this until you had us do this exercise, but if I don't like being pulled in all directions, and then I want to rename it that I'm busy and dynamic, and then if I think of the nature of my job, it's case management, so it means that if I'm busy and dynamic, it means I'm helping human beings, and that's kind of what I wanted to do anyway. So maybe instead of complaining about it,
Yeah.
I just realize I'm making a difference for people.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for sharing. So it sounds like a common theme among that emerged from this activity is that we all feel like we have a million things going on at once, whether it's in school or at work or wherever the case may be. But even though we do feel like that, there is also this common sense of like relief or knowing that I'm doing good, right? Like I might be stressed out about all this work that I have to do, but at the end of the day, I know I'm helping people, or I know I'm completing these assignments, and that's going to ultimately help me in the future. So I'd just like to thank you all for sharing. Unfortunately, we're already at the end of our time tonight, so I just really quickly want to go over what we did. So we went over confidentiality. We did a check-in round. We were able to give each other feedback on a little bit of an altercation that took place. We processed that, and then we moved into our activity. We were able to turn unproductive thoughts into productive thoughts, and we processed that, and now we are at the end of our session. I would just like to thank you all for coming, and I will see you all next week, same time. have a good night and drive safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.